get one of them?
You can do any of them. I guess you can start with Toneri or Momoshiki. I don't know. We should. I can do both of.
I'll start with Toneri because that's
Okay,
easy.
then yeah.
All right, so it's just one statement. Toneri is just stated to be the strongest enemy.
Okay. So can I refute that
Yeah.
if you're willing to listen? So in by so the normal argument against that is a statement that says in the beginning of the Boruto, there's that panel that says that Kaguya is the greatest threat, right? But now everyone
Well,
will tell, yeah,
hold on.
everyone will tell you that your dad
I know where
contradicts.
you're
That's
gonna go with this. You're gonna say that Kaguya is the greatest threat, so that contradicts the statement. But something can be a greater threat at a point without being stronger. Because Kaguya, when she showed up, they weren't equipped to deal with Otsutsuki. But when Toneri shows up, Naruto is able to handle it on his own. So Kaguya can technically be the greater threat while still have Toneri being stronger, so that way it doesn't contradict. It would just mean that at that point they were less equipped to deal with threats on this level.
okay. Now, do
Because
you
we,
know the entirety of Boruto? When they're describing Momoshiki being above Kaguya, they always say he is a greater threat and is not actually stronger in physical strength.
um, well, that was okay. Well, that still leads to the conclusion that he's stronger because the context would be different, right? Because if they're saying Momoshiki is a threat to them as of now, and they're able to beat Toneri level threats, and they should be equipped to deal with Kage level threats now. That would just mean that Momoshiki is a like being a greater threat than Kaguya is also him being stronger, like attributed to him being stronger. Also, I would prefer if we can stay on Toneri, right? Because current argument is Toneri, like whether Toneri is stronger or not.
Yeah, I'm keeping. Don't. Okay, as con, your context
You're lagging.
is, says you can't hear me.
No, you keep cutting in and out.
Okay, your statement is usual. The statement which you said it was from a panel that said Toneri is the strongest enemy.
Hmm.
But again, that also still doesn't prove anything because it doesn't say strongest enemy ever or anything. It just says strongest enemy could be strongest enemy at the
Okay,
time.
okay. When a writer's trying to tell us something, they'll usually try and specify if there is a specific point at which the greatest enemy, right? So instead of saying the strongest enemy in this movie or the strongest enemy at this time, they just say the strongest enemy. That would probably mean that the statement is more geared towards being general because as humans, when we read statements that don't have much context, we usually either take them as we usually just take them as general because this statement is just a pretty general one, just the strongest enemy. It doesn't need to say in history or ever to mean, you know, in history or ever.
If we're dying on that statement of Toneri is stronger than Kaguya, then I'm just going to say Toneri is stronger than Momoshiki.
Well, Naruto and Sasuke probably got stronger by the time they fought Momoshiki. So, because
Yeah, that
Naruto's job is to first off, Sasuke is hypothesizing that there's possibly greater threats than Kaguya, and as we know, I've already said that if in this context, the threat being greater would probably be about strength, because if they're able to deal with these Kaguya level threats, since they're able to beat up Toneri, and then Momoshiki shows up and they think he's like, he's a threat to them as of now, this would probably just mean that at this point Momoshiki is stronger than Kaguya, and that they've been like kind of expecting things on this level for years now because they've already fought threats that are greater than Kaguya. Naruto being the
oh,
Hokage of the Leaf, the Hokage's job is to like defend the village, treat the village as family. Sasuke being the Shadow Hokage, his job being to investigate these things. That's the reason they even know about Momoshiki. So they're probably both prepared they've had years to grow and learn, even if they haven't been fighting stronger opponents.
Okay, so now let me ask you a question. Because said, why do you think that the last Naruto actually has the power to fight off Kaguya? Because you said
Um,
that
if he can beat
because
us,
it,
if he can beat an enemy stronger than Kaguya, that would just mean that he's at the level to where he can fight Kaguya and kill her.
because if you legit watch the end of Naruto, these guys didn't actually beat Kaguya the orthodox way you usually see people ending fights. So, and I just want to say, even if, for example, Toneri was for some goddamn reason the same strength, let's just assume, right, that they were the same strength when Toneri had the Tensei gun, right? The way if we just substitute Toneri and Kaguya, that punch that knocked Toneri out would not knock Kaguya out. So I just want to ask, because at that point Naruto will still have to be able to steal Kaguya. So why would you think that?
Well, the problem with your argument is that you're pretty much trying to defeat my argument by nerfing Toneri and saying he's on the same level as Kaguya, when I've already explained that he should be above Kaguya, right? And if you're above Kaguya and Naruto's able to beat him, Naruto would just be able to beat Kaguya as well. Because Naruto, it's even stated, hold on, now let me get the statement real quick. It's stated that the title of Hokage was pushing him to new heights. So he over the years this nigga never stopped training, and he's still like training and growing stronger, and then he fights someone who is on who is above Kaguya's level, my bad, and beats them. So the conclusion would just be that if you switched Kaguya into Toneri's place, Kaguya would just do worse. Kaguya might not even get like a back and forth. Kaguya might just get like a chakra arm, throw a Rasen trick, and then cut her in half. Or he might just turn off his chakra cloak completely and like suplex her or something. But there's not much to really gas him up like that.
Nah, I think you're the one misunderstanding. Probably because if you've watched Naruto fight, right? Like the abilities Kaguya has, it's like, for example, even if we just keep strength level, right? Like we just keep the strength level this. Like the attacks that has killed most of the Otsuki. If Kaguya took that same attack, she would survive them just like, for example, the attack which killed Momoshiki. Kaguya would survive that. Do you want to complain?
Kaguya probably wouldn't survive that. If that attack can kill Momoshiki, who've already explained to you why he's probably stronger, it probably would just kill Kaguya as well. And Kaguya's abilities don't really matter to the fight because Otsutsuki can just absorb. They can absorb chakra-based abilities, and most of them just have a resistance to abilities anyways. Someone can just be like an ability doesn't really matter if you're just physically stronger to the point of where you're just beating the fuck out of them, and you just can't really link Kaguya to them in physical strength in any way that's favorable for her.
Durability wise, Momoshiki.
And durability wise, the
As
which would
well as
reason to refute them having a higher durability than her is saying that they lost to an attack that Kaguya didn't lose to. But that's because Kaguya wasn't in the position. Kaguya fought weaker Naruto and Sasuke. The Naruto and Sasuke she fought were teens who had just got their abilities. The Naruto and Sasuke Toneri fought, or the Naruto's Toneri fought, was much years older and had been like training kids at the academy and training himself. The Sasuke and Naruto Momoshiki fought are adults who have had years to go through their abilities and master them. So
even if I to go biologic, then the Rasengan Momoshiki got hit by Boruto's Rasengan, the tiny one. Still hit Momoshiki and did relative damage. Whereas you will see Kaguya tanked like Rasen Shuriken, Nine-Tail Beast Rasen Shuriken from Naruto, and walked it
Well,
off just.
that's because, well, first off, Momoshiki was just off guard. He literally sees the attack coming, sees it disappears, figures it fizzled out, and then gets hit off guard with it, right? And when he gets hit off guard with it, it doesn't even like cause any like permanent damage. It just leaves a small dent in his arm. Not even a dent, just a small amount of dust on his arm, right? So that being said, like
I could argue
also
that that
also
damage
him
was the
her
same
seeing
thing.
the Rasen Shuriken, that shit doesn't really matter because fucking you can't link the Rasen Shuriken to Boruto's Rasengan. Anything that would just upscale Boruto. For all we know, in this moment, Boruto could have a mental amp that puts his Rasengan above those Rasen Shuriken.
Those Rasen Shuriken have the chakra of all nine-tailed beasts, and like the Rasen Shuriken, which like attack on the molecular level. So no matter how you want to say, and it's from a six-path Naruto, there's no way
Someone can just be
it is
stronger than that.
on
We
the
see the
level.
Kage are able to keep up with like the Kage who just have way higher potential than the old Kage can keep up with and kind of damage Otsutsuki, which no other Kage could before. And then on top of that, Boruto should have higher potential. On top of that, Boruto should also have a mental amp because he's trying to protect his father, and mental amps and Naruto are just stated to exist. And on top of that, Momoshiki was off guard. So any way you slice it, you can't really link. All you can say is, oh, they have the chakra of the Biju, and oh, they're Ross and Shuriken. Doesn't really mean anything. Like,
Okay, then let me put it in a way that everyone will be happy. Naruto, the first time Boruto used this vanishing Rasengan, it hit and damaged it. We didn't break it, just minimal damage. Sasuke saw that and thought that it would still damage Momoshiki without thinking about potential in it. He just saw it and thought, yeah, that attack is going to hit Momoshiki. It's not even
well,
about damage. He just knew it would happen. It's not like he thought, yeah, that thing is going to damage more than what. He just knew.
what he
That was
doesn't
like
really
a
think
two-minute
anything
attack.
out loud. All he thinks is that Boruto did a good job combining chakra natures, which the Rasengan is. Also, AP versus DC, like in anime, something's DC doesn't have to be equal to its AP, right? So it not damaging that tree doesn't really mean anything. And on top of that, Boruto could have a mental amp in this moment. It doesn't really change. Boruto has a mental amp in this moment. That would just mean that the nigga's gonna and the nigga was at a level where he was above when he was when he threw it at that tree. He would just do that shit to Momoshiki again. The reason he did that was able to do that to Momoshiki, but not the tree, is probably a mental amp. Also because Momoshiki's off guard, like I keep saying, and Naruto characters amp their durability with chakra. If Momoshiki doesn't think he's in danger, why would he amp his durability with chakra?
I'm pretty sure there have been many characters that have been hit with the same Rasengan and they have still gotten damaged despite them being aware that it's coming for them.
Well, there have been other characters who've gotten hit by it. Those other characters could also just be stronger than Kage. So, and that Rasengan can just also be stronger than Kage. So, also Boruto
And
shouldn't have a mental amp at all those fights. So, what if Boruto in this fight has a mental amp, able to damage Momoshiki, but in those other fights, since he doesn't have one, it's able to damage these weaker characters or be tanked by these weaker characters, whichever one you want. It doesn't really lead to the
anyway,
conclusion that like there's really no conclusion that Kage is stronger. It's just a conclusion that either these characters that this Rasengan is just stronger than anything we've seen in the past. Either that or Boruto has a mental amp, which is just stated to be able to happen. And it's stated that you can get as strong as you need to be. And if that you take that literally, then Boruto would just be on
if
a
one
higher
look
level.
at it, if the Naruto's mental up during that time was greater than Boruto's, as for Naruto, I'm pretty sure Obito just died and dude went cut off Kaguya's arm and threw the Rasen Shuriken just directly. I'm pretty sure it was something like that. Is that correct? By that logic, the mental up Naruto got should have been greater since the stakes were also greater, wasn't it?
What?
Shouldn't that be correct? Yes, because if you said the main Boruto's Rasengan got stronger because of a mental arm, then during that time Naruto threw his Russian Shuriken at Kaguya, he was also under a mental arm. So
Mental amps don't always have to be to the same level. The mental amps could have been greater than fucking Naruto's. Naruto's could have been just enough to meet Kaguya's level, and Boruto's was enough to surpass it. It's not that.
any way you can convince me a mental arm can
I don't need to
increase it
convince
can,
you. I just need to convince the judge. Because the what's just stated is that Momoshiki's over Kaguya. And what's also stated is that Toneri's over Kaguya. And if these two statements exist, your argument leads to a contradiction. Mine doesn't. And I'm
the
giving
statement.
interpretations that mean your statements could exist at the same time as my statement. My argument's just probably more likely, right? So whether you think the scaling is good, you can think that, Momoshiki being over Kagi is stupid, or Boruto being able to damage an above Kagi level threat is also stupid, even though I've already said many times off guard. It doesn't
No,
really
the
matter.
statement says that Toneri is the strongest enemy. Never says strongest of all time. It's you that's
I've
coming under
already
that some.
explained why it doesn't need to say strongest of all time. The statement gives a generalization. It doesn't really need to.
Now, just assuming that stronger than Kaguya is just your feeling. It doesn't really prove anything. It doesn't show
Not my
anything.
feeling. I've just
Same way-
explained when a writer's trying to tell us something. I don't really need to repeat it, but I will one more time. When a writer's trying to tell us something and they don't give us a specific time frame, they probably just mean it as a general or context based thing. And in context, we know there's other enemies, but there's no other enemies in this movie. So it'd probably be the case that it's talking about enemies in the past and enemies in this movie. Since there's no other enemies in
But
this movie, there are enemies in this past.
that wrote that it was a promotional material not written by Kishimoto, so not
Well,
the
you
right.
can't prove it wasn't written by Kishimoto. Kishimoto at this point is overseeing the movie. So anything he greenlights is in the movie. That was greenlit. Also, a promotional material can be informative and hype. You can, if I say this is the world's tallest roller coaster, am I lying to you about it being the world's tallest roller coaster? No, I'm telling you the truth while also hyping you up for it.
Are those really the, is that really the same thing?
Well, you realize the statement is meant to be informational because what it's making is a statement about strength. Strength is something that can be like, Kishimoto
Well,
can be like, "What? This character is
regardless
more
of
stronger than you."
regardless of how you want to put it, Kaguya has done some impressive things like, for example, knockout characters like Ishiki. There's no reason for you to claim, God knows where, by your godforsaken logic, that Boruto's Rasengan was meant to up above, you know, six path characters to the point where it's higher than whatever Naruto gave Kaguya. Like, you can't compare them. Like, if you're looking at chakra, the even okay, so let me you explain to me, how do mental arms increase the strength of an attack over jutsu? Tell me.
Hmm?
I
Oh, well,
mental
chakra is mental energy. So your mental energy filling up would probably just like amp your chakra, and then the chakra using the attack would probably just get stronger. Or if you disagree with that, we can just go with the interpretation that the strength comes from nowhere, and because what's just stated is that when the when you're protecting someone, you're gonna get stronger. So where that strength comes from doesn't really matter. It can be from nowhere. It can be from the explanation I gave. But also, I mean, Kaguya having impressive feats doesn't really mean anything because who currently owns the story decided that she was no longer the strongest. So
point here is that the Rasen Shuriken that Naruto threw was stronger than Boruto. There's no reason
that
for you
still
to.
hasn't really been like proven because the only argument you really gave was, well, I mean,
I
it has
mean, there's
extra
no
chakra
there's
and
no
it's Rasen
question
Shuriken.
that was being shown there was a mental amp. I don't know why you guys use mental gymnastics to make things make sense.
I didn't really use
They,
mental gymnastics. I just used like what's stated in the story. Mental emphasis that's
that was
stated. Also, characters
Boruto's
can be off
mental amp.
guard. I also said that, and I also gave like one more interpretation. Can't even remember what it was. Oh yeah, Boruto's just that strong, which it can also be that because Boruto is just that strong.
Boruto at that time when fighting Momoshiki was not that strong. Like if you see the fights after that, Boruto is not shown something that
Not shown. Why do you need something to be shown to you? Do you think like anything that's not shown can exist?
I really don't want to understand what you're talking. Okay, let me explain to
Listen,
you
listen, listen.
how.
I think we've been
No,
going in circles, and I gotta go. So you want to wrap it up? I'm kind of.
okay, let me just explain to you how probably chakra attacks work. They are converted from something like stamina. So I want to say mental arm. There is no way a mental arm can be stronger than 90 like tail beast chakra. Your statement is as crazy as saying that let me give you an example. It's like Kid Sasuke can mental arm his chakra to be able to like almost knock out murderer at full power, something like
Yeah,
that.
maybe
That's
he could if I mean it said the statement says you get as strong as you need to be. So if Sasuke ran into Madara and he's protecting Naruto, maybe he would get strong enough to cut him in half. What do we have to contradict this?
just bullshit. I don't know. Maybe that's absolutely bullshit, and it's not even man. I don't know.
I
You
think it's reasonable. Anyways, you
there's
trying to wrap
nothing.
up?
I think wrap this up because there's no I'm going to convince you that if you fucking think the mental amp is all that pushes, you have no legit proof to say.
Alrighty,
Yes, sir.
alrighty. Listen, we can move on if you don't think there's legit proof.
Just,
I don't think this really
just
needs a conclusion, but I'll give a quick conclusion. I won because I won anyway.
So that was a slaughter. Oh man.